This video will be talking about the conjunctions of purpose, or the conjunction of cause or reason, which means some words and phrases that we use in English in order to express the reason for doing something or the cause something happens, why we do something or why something happens. And we will be talking about a group of conjunctions which are used for that purpose. The first two are synonyms to each other, and these are so as to and in order to. So these two phrases, so as to and in order to, are used to express the purpose of doing something, the reason for doing something. And of course, both of them are followed by the infinitive of the verb. Let's have some examples to highlight these two phrases of purpose. We can say, he took the course in order to get a better job. He took the course in order to get a better job. So in order to answers the question why. Why did he take the course? In order to get a better job. So the purpose, the reason for doing the course is getting a better job. So in order to is used to express purpose. Let's have another example on so as to. For example, we can say, she studies hard so as to pass the exam. So as to pass the exam. So why does she study hard? Why does she study hard? She studies hard so as to pass the exam. Of course, I can replace in order to in the first example with so as to, and I can replace so as to in the second example with in order to. So I can say, he took the course so as to get a better job, and we can say, she studies hard in order to pass the exam. It's worth mentioning here that in spoken English, informal English, we don't use in order to and so as to, and we replace them just with a to plus infinitive. So we can say, he took the course to get a better job, without in order, without so as. We just use a to infinitive to express the purpose of doing something. So why did he take the course? To get a better job. She studies hard to pass the exam. Why does she study hard? To pass the exam. Right, and what is the negative forms of these two phrases? Because in negative sentences, we need to add not to them. So we change so as to into so as not to. And we change in order to into in order not to. Let's have an example. He whispered so as not to wake the baby. So he whispered so as not to wake the baby. So what is the reason why he whispered so as not to wake the baby? I left quietly in order not to disturb anyone. I left quietly in order not to disturb anyone. And as we said regarding the first two, these two are also synonyms. In order not to is a synonym for so as not to. Both of them are used to express the reason why we don't do something. So they are the negatives of so as to and in order to. So we can replace them with each other. We can use them interchangeably. So we can say, he whispered in order not to wake the baby. I left quietly so as not to disturb anyone. Excuse me. Right. We can also replace so as to with so that. And we can replace in order to with in order that. But there will be a difference in the grammatical pattern. So, in case of so as to and in order to, we follow them with infinitives. But in case of so that and in order that, we follow them with clauses. What does this mean? What does it mean if we follow them with clauses? It means that we follow them with a subject and a verb. For example, I explained the problem clearly so that everyone could understand. Again, I explained the problem carefully or clearly so that everyone could understand. So everyone is the subject, could understand is the verb, and both of them are coming after so that. Okay, so we can say I explained the problem clearly so as to make it clear for everyone. You see, so as to make. So we follow so as to with the infinitive, so as to make it clear for everyone. Also, we can use in order that instead of in order to. For example, we might say, she worked extra hours in order that the project would be completed on time. She worked extra hours in order that the project, that's the subject, the project would be completed, that's the verb, on time. It's worth mentioning here that so that is more formal than so as to. In order that is more formal than in order to. So the versions with that are more common, are more formal, To make them less formal, we can remove that. That's with the case of so that. So we can say, I explained it clearly, or I explained the problem clearly so everyone could understand. So removing the word that makes the sentence less formal or makes it more informal. It's worth mentioning here that after so that and in order that, we use a tense that connects with the tense in the other clause, because so that and in order that are used in sentences which are composed of two clauses. So we look at the other clause, not the clause that contains so that and in order that. No, the other clause. If it contains a present tense, we use a present tense in the clause with so that and in order that. If it's a past tense in the other clause, the main clause, we use a past tense in the clause with so that and in order that. For example, we can say, regular checks are made. That's present. Regular checks are made in order that safety standards are maintained. You see, present simple in the main clause and present simple in the clause with so that. Regular checks are made, present, in order that safety standards are maintained. We can also use can or will in the clause with so that, if the other clause is present, and we can use could or would in the clause with so that or in order that if the other clause is in a past tense. For example, advice is given, that's present, so that students can choose the best course. We can say so that students can choose or will choose or just choose the best course. I hid the presents, which is a past tense. Hid is the past of hide. I hid the presents so that Jackie didn't find them, or wouldn't find them, or couldn't find them. So, if the tense in the main clause is present, we use a present tense in the clause with so that or in order that, or we use can or will. If the tense in the main clause is past, we use in the clause with so that and in order that a past tense or could or would. Okay. Now we move on to further phrases used for expressing the purpose. For example, we have a phrase called such that. Well, such that can be used with the same meaning of so that and in order that. For example, the model was designed such that the value of x can be calculated. Such that the value of x is a variable, an unknown, can be calculated. So we can replace such that in this example with so that or in order that. The three of them are synonymous to each other. So we can say the model was designed such that / in order that the value of x can be calculated. And the last two phrases used to express purpose are in such a way that and in such a way as to. In such a way that and in such a way as to. For example, he spoke in such a way, or he spoke loudly. So he spoke loudly. Why? In such a way that everyone could hear him. In such a way that everyone could hear him. So in such a way that is followed by a clause, a subject and a verb. In such a way that everyone, subject, could hear, verb, could hear him. So this is also another phrase used to express purpose. Why did he speak loudly? In order that everyone could hear him clearly. And the last one is in such a way as to. For example, the device was designed this way. The device was designed this way. Let's remove this way. Let's say the device was designed only. The device was designed in such a way as to prevent overheating. So why was the device designed like this? Why was the device designed like this? It was designed like this in such a way as to prevent overheating. So in such a way as to plus infinitive shows me the purpose of designing the device in this fashion or in this manner. The purpose of that is to prevent the problem of overheating. So this lesson tackled the issue or the topic or the theme of conjunctions or phrases of purpose. All of the phrases and the conjunctions we discussed today are used for the purpose of showing or for the reason of showing the purpose. We use them to answer the question why. Why does this happen? Why do we do a certain action? For a certain cause or for a certain reason or for a certain purpose. And all of these causes, reasons and purposes are demonstrated by the conjunctions and the phrases that we talked about in today's video. I hope it was useful for you and I look forward to seeing you in our next episodes. Enjoy the rest of your day and goodbye.